Hey there, welcome back to Big Nerds Wargaming. It's that time of year where we look back over the past 12 months and we look at what we've accomplished and what we want to do for the next 12 months. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to showcase some of the stuff that I worked on this year that I feel pretty good about, and why it's important to me, and just kind of do a little showcase of some of the painting progress I've made over the past 12 months. But before we get started on that, if you like what we do here on the channel, please like this video, leave a comment, and let me know what you think of some of these paint schemes. Let me know what you're working on and what you've worked on this year. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel because we post a new video at least every other week, usually a battle report. Sometimes there's a bonus video on the off weeks. In addition to that, I also do live streaming where I do a hobby hangout painting live stream. You can come hang out and chat, and I do that weekly on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Alright, let's take a look at the first model. So starting off this list, we have the humble Termagaunt. The new Termagaunt, in fact. And why this is important to me is because this is the model where I refined my Tyranid Hive Fleet paint scheme. So you can see next to this old Termagaunt, I refined my paint scheme that I started a long time ago as a child. Probably 13 or 14, and I kind of brought it to the next level because I've definitely grown as a painter over the years, but I've just kind of painted all my Tyranids the same ever since, even though I wanted to paint them better, but just for consistency. But luckily, I think I found a way to upgrade my paint scheme, make them look better, yet still have them be pretty cohesive in the whole army. So here's another example of a Tyranid warrior painted in my new paint scheme next to a standard one. Now they are a little different, some of the tone and color, but I think they still look great next to each other on the table and they don't look out of place. So I'm really excited about that. And that's why this Termagaunt is important to me, because it really jump-started my whole new Hive Fleet paint scheme. Alright, next up on the list, we have the Aeldari Corsairs. Now these Corsairs, were a pain to paint because I had 30 of them. I had the boarding patrol and I had the kill team, but I worked my way through them, and the only way I was ever going to get these done on time was to do some slap chop. So I painted these with the slap chop speed paint style. I did go back and do some layers and highlights on top of that, but that process really accelerated the paint job, and I was able to crank these out fairly quickly, and I'm really pleased with the way they turned out. I couldn't be happier. And it's really a great opportunity for me to try out slap chop and see what that's all about. Continuing on, we have the Howling Banshees. Now I really like these ones because not only are they a light colored model, which is sometimes hard to paint, I'm really happy with the way they turned out with the colors and the red and the hair and the greens. It just really came together quite well. That's what I love about Aeldar, because the Aeldar have the Aspect Warriors, which lets you really mix up what you're painting and try something new with the different Aspect Warrior armor. So the Howling Banshees, I'm really happy with the way these turned out. And I'm really looking forward to some new Aspect Warrior sculpts coming out soon, because the old ones are very rough. And continuing the Aeldar models, I have a Farseer on a bike. I just included this because I think it's a cool model. The bikes, I did a combination of airbrushing and dry brushing, and then I painted some of the Baeltan thorns on the bikes, which I think is very subtle, but I think it turned out quite nicely. I just like the Farseer on a bike. I think he's cool. Speaking of cool models, the Repulsor Executioner is a very cool model. And this one I actually found, I got it used secondhand, still in the box, for a really good deal. I wasn't a huge fan of a lot of the Primaris vehicles, but I couldn't pass up this deal. So I picked it up, and I put it together, and I painted it. And when I was painting it, I really started to appreciate the Primaris style vehicles. And this one kind of really grew on me. And you know, because of this model, I think I've come around a bit more to the Primaris aesthetic a bit. I still love the Firstborn stuff, you know, they're first in my heart, but the Primaris stuff has definitely grown on me, and I think I'm at to the point where I can say it's cool, I like it. The Repulsor Executioner was kind of the model that really did that for me. And speaking of cool vehicles too, sticking in that vein, we have the Eldar Shroud Runners. I mean, these guys are just they're awesome. The two-seater jet bikes, they're scouts, kind of similar paint scheme as the Farseer on a jet bike, but just a little bit bigger bike. And I just think these models are really cool looking. But I think they really did a great job on this sculpt, and these are just really awesome models. And then, of course, you can't talk about new awesome models that came out this year without mentioning the new Space Marine Terminators. Now, this is actually my first set of actual Space Marine Terminators. I have a squad of Relic Terminators, but these are my first actual proper Space Marine Terminators. And I'm glad that I actually hadn't gotten any before, because the new updated sculpts are amazing. They're huge, they're big, they're awesome, and I really kind of went all out on these guys with the edge highlighting. I kind of did a layered approach where you start with a chunkier highlight and then you do a fine color on top to really make that highlight pop. And then on the gunner, I was gifted a muzzle flash from a buddy of mine that we play with regularly, and I decided to make the gun look like it's glowing red hot from unloading a bunch of rounds. And I usually don't do that kind of thing when I'm painting, so that kind of really pushed me to try some lighting effects on the model, and I really like the way that turned out. So maybe I'll do some more cool effects in the future. And while we're talking about Terminators, the Terminator Captain, it's a great model, great action shot. I did make the dead Screamer Killer head matching my High Fleet, which felt a little weird and dirty, but yeah, this model is great. I tried my hand at doing some freehand checker patterns on the pauldrons. I think it turned out okay, and kind of similar story to the other Terminators. Trying some more effects too. I made the power sword look like it's shooting lightning, and I think that turned out pretty good. And I'm really happy with the way that this model came out. And continue the countdown, we have to talk about Jain Zarr, the Phoenix Lord of the Howling Banshees. This is kind of a similar story to the Howling Banshees. I actually painted her alongside these 5 that I showed previously. But yeah, just a really awesome model. I love the acrobatic leap that she's doing. And I'm really happy with the way this turned out with her mask and her hair, the way it blends from like kind of an orange to a red. And it's just a really cool model, and I'm one of my favorites of this year for sure. And speaking of favorites, let's talk about the new Terminator Librarian. But first, before we talk about the Terminator Librarian, let's talk about the old one, because the old one I painted this year as well. It's kind of funny because as I was painting him, the Leviathan announcement came out, and I got to see the new one presented. And while the new one looks awesome, and it is awesome, the old one is also still a really cool model. So I was really happy to keep that one and paint him up, and now I can run 2 on the field that have different armor. The old Terminator Librarian is great. Continuing on to the new Terminator Librarian, this model also amazing. I love it. So I really tried to push myself and make the runes on his armor glow kind of similar to how the example box art has him. And it was really hard to achieve, and I think I did an okay job on that. But more specifically, I'm proud about his power axe. Now this is kind of like a non-metallic metal power glowing effect that I tried, and I usually don't do this kind of thing as well. So this model, I kind of pushed myself to try something new and try to grow my skills as a painter. And although it's not perfect, I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I'm looking forward to improving more in the future. As far as awesome models go, there's of course the Necron Void Dragon Catan Shard. Now this model I think turned out great, and the best thing is I only painted it in about 4 hours. Maybe 5 hours. There's actually a video of me painting it right here. There's a link, and you can go check it out. But yeah, this model, I did kind of a speed paint / airbrush method, a lot of washes, and it really just came together really quickly, and I am super excited about it, and I love the way it looks. It's an awesome model, and yeah, I just couldn't be happier with how it turned out and how quickly I was able to get it painted. And now another unit. This is actually a whole unit of guys that was very special to me because it is my first true kit bash that I did, where I created a unit of Tyranic War Veterans. So the bodies on these guys are actually the Horus Heresy Marines that came out a year ago last summer. And then I also combined them with the Space Marine Ultramarines upgrade sprue with some of the heads and other bits. And then on top of that, I found these 3D printed Tyrannic War Veteran shoulder pauldrons, which I included on these guys. And yeah, unfortunately, with 10th edition, the War Veterans are now legends. However, that's not going to stop me from busting them out and getting them in a couple games here and there, probably some more narrative ones. But regardless, I think they look great, and they do look good on the shelf as well. And then, of course, me being a Tyranids player at heart, I absolutely love the new Tyranid models. They look great, specifically the Norn Emissary and the Norn Assimilator. Both of these are rocking my new Tyranid paint scheme. The Emissary came out a little bit darker, and the Assimilator is a little bit more teal. But yeah, I really like this model. This model is amazing, awesome pose. It's good on the table as well. I love both the psychic power of the Emissary and the lethality of the Assimilator, and yeah, just an awesome model. So I couldn't include one without the other. So there you have it, the Norn Assimilator and the Norn Emissary. And of course, last but not least, the Silent King. So this thing, I think took me about 2 weeks, I want to say, just painting almost every single night, as well as some bonus time on the weekends. But yeah, this is a really cool model. So my neck rounds normally are kind of sped paint with a lot of dry brushing and washing. But because this is like the character model for the neck rounds, I decided to kind of do the traditional going all out style, where trying to make it as clean as possible and trying to really build up the color without trying to do some speed painting shortcuts. And yeah, what can I say? This model I think turned out great. All the sub-assemblies and the slow build-up, and I also kind of did some object source lighting with the lightning bolts kind of bouncing off the skulls and the rocks. And yeah, this just a really cool model, amazing model, a lot of fun to paint at times. Kind of a pain at sometimes as well, but yeah, when it came together and I glued that last sub-assembly on, just that feeling of this awesome model finally complete was a really good feeling, and it's definitely the favorite model I painted this year. And there you have it, just a few of my favorite models that I painted this year. If you like this video, let me know what you think. Let me know which one of these that I showcased today is your favorite, and in the comment section, let me know which model that you painted is your favorite for this year of 2023. All right, and that's where I'm going to leave things at. Wrapping up 2023, looking forward to painting many more in 2024. Wow, that rhymed. I didn't really try to make that rhyme. Anyways, catch you in the next video. See you guys. Bye.